it shows that it's gone on the mainstream, right? But it just becomes this popular social phenomenon, and now people are just wondering when is it going to drop, right? And I know myself, I'm like, man, should I buy some of the Dogecoin so I can just kind of keep see what's going on, and it becomes almost like a train wreck that you don't want to turn away from. You just kind of want to see what's going to happen, who's going to make this domino fall. It's almost like watching the Jenga
Yeah.
that Jenga thing falling down. Like who's gonna take that piece or make the comment or do the investment that's gonna bring this whole thing down. All right, you're listening to the Brown Perspective. This is Eduardo, and I'm here with El Mero Mero RO, el inventor del Dogecoin, Doge Father.
What the?
RO, el Doge Father.
This is crazy. So what's going on with Doge, man?
I don't know, es como la bamba, para arriba y arriba. Sube, sube, sube el Dogecoin, and it's growing up in part because your boy Elon Musk tweeted about it, and I think he, like so many others, are basically helping that Dogecoin go up, go up in value.
Elon and Mark Cuban as well. They're accepting
That's
it.
right.
You can make payments with Dogecoin to buy Mavericks merchandise. So
Yes.
I know he's going to appear in Saturday Night Live. That's probably going to make the price of Doge go shoot up a bit more. I think last I checked, it was at 30 cents. And like I've said before, this thing can't possibly end well. I think I've thought about the motivation behind why Elon Musk is trying to pump it so much. Okay. So one way of looking at it is he's just having fun with it. It raises his
Yeah.
profile, and then Mark Cuban saw how much engagement Elon Musk has been getting because of it, and he jumped in because he's
Hmm.
shameless, and he just, the more attention, the better, right? That's really what it comes down to. The other thing, which is very far fetched, but it's possible. Let's just say that Doge gets to 50 cents, maybe even a dollar, and all of a sudden, what if Elon says, "I'm creating a foundation, and I'm recruiting all of these engineers to start maintaining the Doge project again. And we're going to make this thing a real thing now. It started off as a joke, but now we're going to take it and run with it." And it has like a yearly inflation of, I think, like 5 billion coins that get created. But in the grand scheme of things, it still ends up to being about like 2%, which is the type of inflation that we have. So maybe, maybe that's his end goal, but I think he's just having fun with it. And ultimately,
Uh,
go ahead.
I don't know, man, because I think, yeah, people remember Elon Musk mostly because of SpaceX and Tesla, but let's not forget that he did start PayPal. And I think that, that was a revolutionary service at the time, but and also it has to do all with finances. So I think that he's very familiar with the financial space. And if he can maybe, uh, to your point, do something that is along the lines of maybe that PayPal 2.0 or the next thing, or maybe even some ways set in his own currency. In some ways, that would be an ultimate both engineering and sort of market challenge that I'm sure that he would relish to be able to prove the model and prove Dogecoin it can be successful.
But even if he tried doing something like that, the one team alone, maybe this is where he's trying to build up the network effect, capture enough interest, build the network. Because in these social networks or cryptocurrency networks, what really matters is the number of people that are coming onto the network, because that's what
Hmm.
gives it value, right? So if you're the first user on Facebook, there's nothing there for you. It's just one user. But the more people that come on, it gives it value. So same thing with these cryptocurrencies. It's really more about adoption. So the more adoption that you get to that Dogecoin gets, the more you'll start hearing people say, wait a minute, maybe this thing could work. Let's revive the project. Let's start coding. I don't even know if anyone maintains the code right now. Like
Hmm.
these, this is all open source code. So I can go into Git and go to
Ooh,
the
let's look behind the curtain, Wizard of Oz.
let's see if I can find the repo. Is this it?
By the
Dogecoin
way,
Git.
as you do that, I think just to your point, I think he's just able to utilize the goodwill, his brand's goodwill, right? He already kind of proven himself with Tesla. And part of the reason why Tesla is so valuable is because of his group of investors. He's also proven it with SpaceX. So I think he may be trying to use that goodwill and that brand recognition and his amazing platform as a thinker, as a industrialist to turn the Judge coin around.
Yeah, so
And
initially they created 100 billion coins, and then each subsequent block will grant 10,000 coins. But it doesn't say anything about reducing the block reward. So the thing with Bitcoin is whenever every 4 years, the number of Bitcoin that are rewarded per block, it gets cut down in half. They call it the halving. But anyway, so this is the repo, and if you can see that, oh, there's 12 active branches. That just means people actively working on it. Not yeah, just maybe creating branches and working on it. But let's see you can look at the commit history of this thing. Where were the commits?
this is fascinating stuff. So you're telling me that people can just go here and work on this thing and
I
is a branch, is that the other coins based out of this
No,
platform?
a branch is like if you want to do a fix. Let's say that there's a
Mm,
fix and somebody wants to fix it. They'll do a branch, and then they'll do the fix, and then they'll merge the branch to the main code base. But with these cryptocurrencies, we can go and clone. We can clone the entire source code, and then we can
mm.
call it uh, Eduardo coin, Dog
Yes.
Eduardo or something, and we could say we have our own coin now,
Edu money.
and we could put it out there and start getting people to join our network. And this is how a lot of these coins were created. That's why a lot of these coins are called shit coins because they're just clones of all. I mean, Dogecoin is
Hey, let's
lit.
do one. Let's do it right now. Let's start our own currency.
Well, I'm sure it's pretty involved, but I mean, the first thing you do is you clone somebody else's repo. If you're not coming up with anything original like Dogecoin, they just cloned Bitcoin, and at some
Mm.
point they added on top of it. So now they defer in areas, but initially, like here are the commits. By the way, 13,000 commits. And then the last one was February 28th. So it's been a while since anybody checked code into this. February 28th, 2021. And what's this guy? It's just all these releases. I mean, you could look at the whole history of this thing, but you can see that nobody has really checked in about 2 months. Uh, but anyway, so this is open source. People can look at the activity. It's 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 definitely it's definitely a joke coin. People are buying it because they think that it's going to keep going up and they're trying to make money. At some point there will be a crash.
And
What's it?
because it's relatively cheap, right? So it's like, oh yeah, I invest $10, $100, and if I lose it,
Yeah,
big deal. But if I win,
it,
like
it
that's a good investment.
it's called unit bias because people think that one Bitcoin is now too expensive, but if they buy a Dogecoin, they can buy thousands for a few $100. But that's just the bias, really. I mean, Bitcoin, you can divide it into small units that they call satoshis. I think one Bitcoin is like how many satoshis in a Bitcoin? It's like 10 million or something. 100 million satoshis in one Bitcoin. So let's say that
Mm.
tomorrow all of the exchanges started listing the price of satoshis instead of Bitcoins. It would be fractions of a cent, and probably people would start buying a whole bunch of satoshis just because they're cheap. So right now, one satoshi is worth zero point zero 0.02 cents,
Oh my God.
right? So anyway, going back to this, it's the problem with this Dogecoin also is that once it does come crashing down, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna lose their money. And if you go on Reddit or if you go any other social network and you see, there's gonna be people that are they're gonna say that they sold their house,
Mm.
they emptied their 401ks because they got into the mania. And I don't even know if the mania has started yet. I mean, if this thing goes up to $1, that's when you'll start seeing. And then once it crashes, the regulators are going to come in and they're going to say, okay, we need to see what happened here. And I think Elon Musk, I'm sure he's said it before. This isn't financial advice or anything, so I don't think that maybe there'll be some heat on him and on Mark Cuban, but I don't think there's anything there to go after them. So really, all these people are gonna lose all of their savings, and then they'll probably come down and do regulation on the entire space. Uh, or it keeps going up, and then all of a sudden, people start getting serious about reviving this project. But who knows? This whole space is crazy. It's driven by mania and greed. There's a lot of innovation happening in the space, but a lot of it is just greed also. I mean,
And then social media just adds that additional component of it can go viral.
have you seen TikTok investors?
No.
That's when I realized, like, holy crap, this thing is gonna get out of hand. It's like TikTok investors are like these 15 to 25-year-olds giving financial advice on TikTok on which coins that are gonna go up. There's Dogecoin, and then there's this other one called Mooncoin. There's like thousands of currencies at this point. Mooncoin, Dogecoin. But I think so. Dogecoin is the one that it's become an internet meme. It has its own life of its own because it doesn't even pretend to be a legitimate coin. Like all these other coins that are just clones of either Bitcoin or Ethereum, they'll try to tell you, oh, we tweaked this or we're doing this differently. So this is why our coin has more value and is worth so much more. And this is why we're going to be an Ethereum killer. Dogecoin doesn't try to do any of that. Dogecoin just says, this coin is a joke. This is a coin that's making fun of the entire cryptocurrency space. And I think Elon Musk, that's what he finds so ironic about it. What if the joke coin ends up becoming more valuable than everything else, even Bitcoin? So I don't know. Have fun with it. Watch the space. I like to watch this from a distance, from the sidelines. I don't want to get involved with this because it's pure mania. And so even though there's a chance that you could put money in here right now and it could double, it could 200x. You could also lose everything. So for anyone out there, this isn't financial advice, but if you guys are going to put money into Dogecoin, it has to be money that you're willing to lose. Actually, any cryptocurrency for that matter, even Bitcoin.
Yeah. And I think in some ways it's interesting because now this is just went from being something that, probably techie people like yourself and others who maybe are into cutting edge financial stuff or monitoring, but now the fact that you're hearing about it in the news and now SNL in some ways, it shows that it's gone on the mainstream, right? But it just becomes this popular social phenomenon, and now people are just wondering when is it going to drop, right? And I know myself, I'm like, man, should I buy some of the Dogecoin so I can just kind of see what's going on, and it becomes almost like a train wreck that you don't want to turn away from. You just kind of want to see what's going to happen, who's going to make this domino fall. It's almost like watching the Jenga,
Yeah.
the Jenga thing falling down. Like who's going to take that piece or make the comment or do the investment that's going to bring this whole thing down, and hopefully, to your point, doesn't bring our financial system or a lot of other people down with it.
No, I don't think there's enough money in here to affect the entire system. It's just you're just gonna see a lot of people get wrecked, and yeah.
So that actual money, where does that actual money go? So if let's say I wanted to invest $100 on Dogecoin, how do I convert my $100, whether they're in cash or electronic form? How do I convert them into Dogecoin?
Right. So there's on ramps. So basically, you have to connect your bank to one of the exchanges. So Coinbase and Binance are two of the biggest ones. So what you would do is you'd have to open up an account with Coinbase or Binance, and they'll do some verification. They'll probably ask you for a passport or ID and social security. And once you're approved, then you can transfer money from your bank account to one of these exchanges. And once you're in the exchange, then you can buy with that money that you transfer. You can buy either Bitcoin, and then from Bitcoin you can buy others, or you might be able to buy directly from your cash. You can buy Dogecoin directly from the cash, and now you've converted it into a cryptocurrency. And
So
you're
that's
correct.
literally where the money's at then. Like those are the keepers of the money.
Well, yeah, we haven't really talked about wallets. There's digital wallets where you can store your money, and your digital wallet is just it's an address where the money gets sent to, and that address, it's basically your money's on in the blockchain, but you need your wallet. There's this whole private public key, and as long as you're the only one with the private key, that's the private key that gives you access to that money. That's how this thing is secure. So because as long as you're the only one with that private key, you're the only one that can access that money that's on the blockchain. So on the blockchain, once you purchase like any of these cryptocurrencies on an exchange, the exchange will automatically create a wallet for you, and it'll assign it'll generate a public key and a private key. And so the blockchain records that the money has moved from somebody's account, whoever sold it, it moves to your account, meaning it moves to your public key. And so it's in your public key, it's in the blockchain, but obviously the public key is public, anybody can see it, because that you give that public key to anybody also that wants to send you money, but you can only access that money with the private key, and the private key, you're the only one that has it. And there's a mathematical relationship between the private and the public key. So they're a pair. They get generated at the same time. So your wallet ends up pretty much storing your private key, and the exchange has that wallet for you. But you can also download a wallet into your computer and then move the money from the exchange to your wallet, so you can then keep it yourself, because you never know. Some of these exchanges could go out of business. They could get hacked, and then your money could be stolen. Uh,
Interesting. So it's really just a fancy bank box type of system.
yeah,
And obviously, I haven't been wealthy enough to have used a bank box, but at least according to the ones that I've seen on TV.
Yeah, and actually, now that I remember, there is something that's really interesting in terms of remittances here. There is more and more. There's uh, growing demand from people sending money to Latin America and especially Mexico, and they're
Hmm.
turning to the cryptocurrencies because the fees are a lot lower. There's a company in Mexico that is enabling that.
Interesting. So not Zoom.
No, no. So this is how this space is transforming everything, because there's a company. What is it called? Bitso. So Bitso.
Beat so.
Yeah, buy and sell Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in a few. So what you can do here is, with this, you can send money to someone in Mexico. You can send them Bitcoin, and then they'll be able to then take the Bitcoin and then transfer that Bitcoin over to their bank, because they'll be able to link their account. Maybe here with Bitso, they'll be able to link it to their bank account in Mexico, and then they can then transfer the Bitcoin to their bank account and withdraw it from the bank in Mexico. And I'm sure these guys work with several banks.
Wow, that's amazing.
And the fees are a
So
lot
it's
lower than with, I mean, Western Union. You're paying like $10 for every $1,000 or something like that.
wow, and that's amazing because in some ways, and this is what the amazing thing about also like the type of communities in the Mexican immigrant community to be able to see and understand the benefit of using the system versus, and it's funny, I think that's probably one of the reasons why in some ways people from underprivileged backgrounds also tend to be people who incorporate and accept technology and adapt technology so quickly. I remember when I went to Colombia, I think it was 3 years ago, that we went to this random little eatery in Salento, and the guy had a sign that said, "Oh, we accept Bitcoin." I said, "Damos Bitcoin."
Mm-hmm.
He was selling meat and accepting Bitcoin, and I was funny. And I remember, I think I may still have a shot of that, a picture of that. And it's funny because to me it was like, oh, that's funny. Like I heard of it, but I really hadn't explored it at that time 3 years ago. But in some ways, these folks in Latin America have figured out that, you know what, there's something to this, or I can have a very practical use, which is sending money to my relatives inexpensively, more inexpensively.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I know today we wanted to talk about Dogecoin and just do an update because Elon Musk is going to go on Saturday Night Live. But why don't let's do this? Look, I'm going to open up an account with Bitso, and I'll see if I can buy some Bitcoin and then send it. And I'll try to contact maybe one of my cousins in Mexico and see if they can sign up and then withdraw the money. So I'll do the whole end to end flow, and then we can do a session where we can actually do this real time and show people, because I think this is really interesting. And anything to kind of break that monopoly with Western Union, because I know our community, they always go to Western Union or even all these other places that price gouge them. So if there's an
Yeah,
alternative, then we should explore it and make that information available.
I agree.
Cool. Anything else?
No, not much. Thank you for taking me into the wonderful world of Bitcoin and not only talking about that development, but I'm excited about getting more of a hands-on visual experience and lesson on this cryptocurrency.
All right. So thank you all for listening. If you enjoy our content, make sure to check us out. We are Brown Perspective. Nos vemos.
Ciao.